They heard me say it. I said that. If I was on there, I said that.
Turn around, please. You did not.
Shekinah, you stopped them, and I said the same. You asked me, do you think I'm happier? That you asked me the question, and I answered it. So why would you sit there and say that?
Because I am happy.
But why would you sit there and say that I ain't say that?
Because you didn't.
I think she's happy. Yes, I did.
It wasn't loud and clear.
Tell me. Yeah? Tell me what's going on right there. What's going on?
Atlanta didn't just light up last night. It exploded. The whole city buzzed like a movie premiere gone horribly wrong. But this wasn't Hollywood make-believe. It was raw, unfiltered reality, messy, emotional, and impossible to scroll past. Clifford T.I. Harris, the self-proclaimed king of the South, found himself standing in the center of a firestorm that threatened to burn his entire empire to the ground. What started as quiet whispers quickly became a digital inferno after leaked medical files, private DMs, and a chilling audio clip hit social media like gasoline on open flames. Then came the bombshell that shook the culture, word that Shekinah Anderson was pregnant. And the alleged father? Not some random man. The name spreading like wildfire was T.I. himself. The internet lost its mind overnight. Hashtags like #ShekinahPregnant, #DNA4tip, and #Justice4Tiny flooded timelines like a storm. Even people outside the hip-hop world were glued to their phones, watching this unfold in real time. For Tiny, this wasn't just another messy headline. It was heartbreak, public, brutal, and televised for millions to see. After years of riding through every scandal, this betrayal cut deeper than ever. The story stopped feeling like gossip and started looking like a public execution of love and trust. And fans wanted answers. Fast. The world froze when Tiny herself stepped up, tears falling, voice trembling but full of fire, declaring, "I want a DNA test. I deserve the truth. My family deserve the truth." That sentence flipped the narrative entirely. Suddenly, this wasn't rumor. It was a woman demanding receipts, live on camera. The video of Tiny breaking down, clutching tissues, shaking but refusing to crumble, flooded every feed. It became more than just drama. It became a symbol. A woman standing in the storm, representing every betrayal, every sleepless night, every heartbreak caught on camera. The internet couldn't turn away. Not because they wanted her pain, but because it was too real to ignore. Then came the receipts that blew the doors off the story. Shekinah's alleged medical report leaked online, and one brutal detail made everything worse. The conception date perfectly matched T's stay at an Atlanta hotel. That one line turned whispers into proof. Journalists gasped, influencers dropped reactions, and fans mourned like a royal family had just fallen. Tiny, already barely holding on, reportedly fainted during a family confrontation. Meanwhile, T's Instagram went dark. No posts, no captions, no stories. Silence. But that silence spoke volumes. Fans took it as surrender. The king of the South had bowed his head. Just when it felt like things couldn't possibly get worse, a whistleblower entered the chat, leaking alleged screenshots of Shekinah admitting that if the DNA test came out, T.I. would lose it all. His wife, his career, his empire. That leak sent shockwaves through the culture. Social media became a war zone. Some called Shekinah a schemer who destroyed a home. Others saw her as a woman caught in a dangerous love triangle she couldn't escape. But one thing everyone agreed on, the Harris empire was collapsing, live and unfiltered. Then came the main event, the courtroom showdown. But this wasn't a normal trial. It looked like the Grammys collided with a reality show finale. Paparazzi packed the courthouse steps, fans swarmed the streets, and protesters waved justice for Tiny signs in the air. Inside, the tension was electric. Tiny sat still, tissues in hand, her face pale but her eyes burning with quiet fury. This wasn't just about a marriage anymore. It was about every woman fighting to be respected. Moments later, Shekinah entered, shielded by security, her face a mix of guilt and defiance. Then T.I. walked in, the once unshakable king now hollow-eyed and cornered. When the judge read the words Tiny Harris versus Clifford Harris and Shekinah Anderson, DNA and betrayal, the entire courtroom gasped. This wasn't just family drama. It was the fall of a dynasty. The other half saw Shekinah as a broken pawn in a dangerous game she couldn't control. But then came the moment that flipped everything, the DNA results. The courtroom went still. You could hear hearts pounding through the silence. The clerk, hands trembling, tore open the envelope like it contained a loaded weapon. Every camera leaned forward. Every reporter froze. And then came the line that detonated the room. Clifford Harris, known publicly as T.I., is a biological father of Shekinah Anderson's child. 99.9%. That number shattered the air like a gunshot. Tiny's scream pierced through the courtroom, raw, guttural, and devastating. Why, Clifford, why would you do this to me? To us. Her daughter sobbed beside her while Shekinah collapsed, crying out, I never wanted this. He promised me everything. The judge slammed his gavel until it cracked, but the chaos drowned him out. Within minutes, the footage went viral. Twitter turned into a war zone. # bombshell, #TinyBroken, and #CancelTI rocketed to the top of trending. News anchors cut into live broadcasts. Late-night hosts dropped their scripts to roast the so-called king of the South. What once looked like royalty now looked like ruin. But the nightmare didn't stop there. Days later, a clip leaked online, T.I. laughing with his boys before court, saying, Tiny ain't going nowhere. She can cry, she can sue, but she'll always need me. Shekinah? Man, she's just another piece of the puzzle. That one video turned a scandal into a career funeral. The internet lost it. Fans called him manipulative, arrogant, and heartless, a self-proclaimed king mocking the very queen who built his empire. Overnight, endorsements disappeared, sponsors ghosted, and his label dropped a statement colder than ice. We are reviewing our relationship with Clifford Harris following recent revelations. Translation: the crown is gone. Meanwhile, Tiny's pain became power. Her teary statement, shaky but strong, hit harder than any verse T.I. ever wrote. I never thought I'd see the day my family name would be dragged through this, she said. But I will rise. I will fight. And my children will know the truth about the man who broke our home. Those words turned into an anthem. Fans flooded her social media with messages of love, candles, and posters reading Queen Tiny Forever and Rise from the Ashes. Overnight, she became the people's champion, heartbroken, graceful, and done being silent. Across the city, though, Shekinah's life disintegrated. Hate mail, death threats, and mobs outside her home. In a tearful Instagram live, she sobbed, I didn't destroy the family. He did. He told me he loved me. He said he'd leave Tiny. Now I'm the one paying the price. Her pain hit deep, but sympathy was scarce. To the world, she wasn't a victim. She was a villain. The woman who shattered a legacy and lost everything in return. And just when people thought it was over, the final blow dropped. Tiny officially filed for divorce. The paperwork demanded full custody, half of T's empire, and damages for emotional distress. That filing wasn't just legal, it was symbolic. The empire that once defined hip-hop royalty had fallen to its knees. The king of the South had been dethroned by his own crown jewel. Tiny's rise and T's fall became the story of the decade, a lesson written in heartbreak, betrayal, and receipts. The internet called it justice. But inside Atlanta, it felt more like Judgment Day. The move sent shockwaves through the entire industry, a fairy-tale love story turned courtroom war. When Tiny filed those papers, one truth echoed louder than any lyric T.I. ever wrote. The empire she helped build was now hers to reclaim. The leaked documents were cold, clinical, and damning, listing repeated betrayal, public humiliation, and irreparable emotional harm. It was all there, printed in black and white for the world to dissect. Paparazzi swarmed as Tiny left the courthouse, sunglasses hiding swollen eyes, her kids close by. That single photo went viral. The caption read, Tiny ends it all. DNA bombshell destroys a Harris family. By sunset, the once golden Harris empire had turned to dust. Inside his mansion, T.I. sat alone. No crew, no music, just silence echoing off marble floors. Rumors said he wasn't sleeping, just pacing, replaying every mistake while his phone lit up with death threats and betrayal from so-called friends. Meanwhile, Tiny's stock soared. She became the queen who survived the fire, untouched, unbroken, unbothered. But this scandal didn't fade. It mutated. New leaks, new whispers, new chaos. Reports claimed T.I. lost over $30 million in endorsements and deals. Then came the bombshell. Insiders revealed Tiny was secretly working on a tell-all memoir, a book that could blow the industry wide open with every lie, betrayal, and hidden chapter she kept buried. And as she rebuilt, Shekinah allegedly prepared to vanish from Atlanta, desperate to outrun the storm her name had summoned. The Harris dynasty, once a symbol of power, music, and love, had officially collapsed. What once looked like royalty now resembled ruins. T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South, was now an outcast, crown gone, legacy shattered, empire bleeding out. The same streets that used to chant his name now whispered it like a cautionary tale. Friends ghosted him, business partners disappeared, and even his closest allies kept their distance. All that remained was an empty house, filled with silence, shame, and ghosts of loyalty long gone. Meanwhile, Tiny had transformed. No longer just a rapper's wife. She was a face of survival, the woman who turned betrayal into rebirth. Fans lined the streets with posters reading Warrior Queen and We Stand with Tiny. Her pain had become her platform, her tears turned to triumph. Cameras followed her not to mock, but to celebrate. Across town, Shekinah's world completely collapsed. The same internet that once obsessed over her now tore her apart. Protesters outside her home chanted, "You broke a family." Her DMs overflowed with hate and death threats. On another emotional Instagram live, she sobbed, "He told me he loved me. He told me he'd leave Tiny. Now I'm the one taking all the hate." But no one was buying it. To the public, she wasn't a victim. She was a spark that burned down an empire. Fair or not, her name was permanently stained. Industry whispers that she was packing her bags, planning to disappear, maybe even change her name just to escape the rage. In one haunting clip, she confessed, "I can't walk down the street without someone spitting at me or calling me a monster." And just like that, her story faded into silence, leaving behind only digital wreckage. Tiny, on the other hand, was just getting started. Her next move was cold, calculated, and powerful. The divorce papers were just the opening shot. Tiny wasn't just asking for half of T's empire and full custody of her kids. She was preparing to go nuclear. Word spread fast about a tell-all memoir, one that wouldn't just expose the affair with Shekinah, but uncover years of hidden secrets, infidelities, and lies buried under their empire. The world held its breath. Because if Tiny really told it all, this wouldn't just ruin T's reputation. It could rewrite hip-hop history. The buzz hit a fever pitch. Every podcast, talk show, and blog wanted her story. The second she spoke, every word turned into a headline. Tiny wasn't just a heartbroken wife anymore. She was a victor, reclaiming her voice after years of silence. The louder Tiny spoke, the quieter T.I. became. But his silence screamed guilt. The media flipped the entire narrative overnight. Tiny became the symbol of survival and empowerment, while T.I. was painted as a villain of his own downfall. His name trended for humiliation, hers for triumph. Reports confirmed T.I. had lost over $30 million.
You said that. Let me ask you somebody who know me for real, right? Who really know me.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear.
I think you have.
Do you think I'm like, from
What she got?
I think she's heavy. I think she's heavy.
The video ain't really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it, and it would have been.
Deals, endorsements, and contracts. Sponsors cut ties, his label went cold, and his streaming numbers nosedived. That leaked video, the one where he laughed and said, "Tiny ain't going nowhere," kept haunting him like a ghost. Every replay, every meme, was another nail in the coffin. His arrogance had turned into his undoing. Every attempt to lay low was crushed by new leaks, new whispers, new betrayals. The mansion that once symbolized power became his prison, echoing with silence, regret, and missed calls. What made it worse? This wasn't just a messy breakup. It became a full-blown cultural moment. Talk shows called it the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history. Fans argued online, debating if Tiny should ever forgive him. But the divorce papers told the truth. She was done. Celebrities picked sides. Some praised Tiny's strength. Others stayed far away, not wanting to be caught in the fallout. The Harris family, once adored for their music and reality show, had become a tragic warning. Even the most glamorous empire can collapse when built on lies. Tiny's tears turned into symbols, each one carrying the weight of every betrayed woman watching around the world. Shekinah's fall was its own lesson. Being the other woman might feel powerful for a moment, but it always ends in ruin. And T's downfall? It became the loudest warning of all. Arrogance and betrayal can destroy even kings. By the end, Atlanta didn't feel the same. The city that once crowned T.I. as its king now whispered his name like a curse. His throne was empty, his crown shattered, and his legacy left in ashes. Tiny rose from that fire as a tragic queen turned legend, the woman who turned pain into purpose. Shekinah vanished completely, her name erased from the spotlight. And T.I., he remained trapped in silence, haunted by ghosts of fame, betrayal, and a fortune that turned to dust. Those DNA results hadn't just revealed a child. They'd exposed an entire dynasty built on deceit. As cameras zoomed in on Tiny's tear-streaked face one last time, the message hit home. This wasn't just a scandal. It was betrayal in its rawest form. The kind that leaves scars no one ever fully healed from. Now one question remains. Can anything rise from this rubble, or is the Harris dynasty truly gone for good? Because sometimes the truth doesn't just set you free, it burns everything around you to the ground. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to stay locked in with Start Channel. Because this saga, it's far from over. The next chapter is only getting darker.